This was such an interesting article in so many different ways today that I read. It basically has to do with a person flying a drone over huge crowds, like in Toronto, saying it's illegal and all that, but it goes into the other aspects of the issue, such as enforcement. This one says, brazen drone footage of Raptors parade, a slap in the face to professional operators, pilot instructor says. Flying drones over crowds can be unsafe and is often illegal, expert says. People still drink and drive, which is unfortunate, and people are still going to do illegal flights here and there, but I believe that this was pretty brazen. Darren Clark, chief pilot at Clarion Drone Academy. So I watched the video in particular, the one that they highlight in this article, and it seemed like he's flying over the crowd, as you can see, and one of the arguments is he's flying a Mavic Pro, or more specifically, it looks like it's more like a Mavic 2. I don't know if the drone actually crashed, but then it shows in one of his videos, like a separate one aside from the capture, he's saying, oh, my drone's gone, like it's scratched and so forth, so I'm not really sure what happened in that sense. But I guess the argument there is none of the Mavic Pro series are qualified to fly over crowds.
I have a drone. What should I do? Alright, so I just crashed the drone. It's done. It's dead. Second drone this year. I'm going to be buying my third drone.
And I guess the other part of the narrative on why people shouldn't fly drones over crowds, because they're talking about the dangers of it in terms of them possibly attaching weapons and stuff to it. It says, Clark said a drone accident could cause injuries in a crowd and drones can be weaponized to cause extensive damage. He said Transport Canada's response to the situation was really not up to snuff. I don't want to put any more panic into everybody, but we've got to look outside the box here, said Clark, noting Prime Minister Justin Trudeau was in attendance that day. And this was apparently Transport Canada's response to it. It says, Transport Canada said a preliminary review was conducted which determined there was not enough evidence to move forward with the investigation. Referring to the videos, however, the agency said it required more time to provide a more fulsome response. As you guys remember, when the regulations were first announced, they said they would work with the local police department to, I guess, convict people who fly drones illegally. This one says, police accept apology from drone operator. The Toronto Police Service said it's not investigating the matter. An officer did, however, speak with the male flying a drone over the crowd on Bay Street. With some education on the Canadian aviation regulations, the male apologized. So from what I gather, it's one of those, okay, you know you did something wrong, so let's just move on, get it over with. That's what it seems like anyways. As usual, it's interesting to see the public perception of the issue. And what I kind of noticed just from general observation, it seemed like the people who were most adamant about debating how, I guess, either it's really dangerous or really safe are people who are actually involved, like say in the industry or hobby in general, where it seems like for a lot of regular people, they're just watching the video and okay, like moving on. It's kind of interesting in that sense. Some responses, like this guy says, apology is not enough, should be prosecuted, police not doing their job. Some people agree, saying certainly if they want other users to respect the laws, whereas one guy says, yeah, let's get those hooligans filming a party. It's so interesting too to hear how many perspectives there are about how people feel a lot of this has just to do with money and so forth. It says here, so the drone instructor has a fit and he didn't get to rob another student while transport holds them down and robs them too. Talk about self-serving opinion. These professional drone pilots are up on soapboxes trying to carve out some job security after graduating from Xbox University. I've got a drone and it's been grounded since June 1st. Never had an incident, it practically flies itself. And there were even people debating about the general points of the law in general. Like some people saying for things like the exam, yeah, whatever, like it's pretty easy. Whereas some people saying, do you look at it like in the overall picture, so to speak? Like these people having debates saying, have you read the SOR 2019-11? And then he goes, yes, that was part of the studying. Most of it is just common sense anyways. And he tells the person, how many flights have you logged? 90148 says you must. Also the crashes and any changes, and these logs must be retained for 2 years. And this guy says, all this for a 300-gram RC toy. I can't imagine anyone submitting to this regime, given the huge consequences of even one violation. Technically it's 250, but I agree, stuff like that is really ridiculous. So many different perspectives on the issue, huh? I guess for myself, one thing I would think about is just in terms of just flying over people in general. Like here, it seems like we make such a big deal about it in general. Like, oh man, you could have dropped the thing, it could have poked someone's eye out, people could attach bombs to it. Yet when you look at certain places in the world that fly drones, their population is a lot higher, like compared to people in Canada in general, way less space, way more people, but they fly drones over people without any issues. So it makes you wonder, in that perspective, are we overreacting in general? Like, there has to be a little bit of balance there. Like that, I would say if you're flying like in a large event and so forth, you shouldn't just do it without any, I guess, precautions or safety measures in any way. Like there, I would say it's irresponsible. But just generally saying, you know, period, these things could have bombs, they could have weapons, it could kill someone. Like in my opinion, it's a little overblown. Because kind of like that video I did yesterday, actually, look at how many aviation related accidents with actual airplanes that happen all the time. Yet people for the most part just see it, okay, you know, it was an incident, so to speak. It doesn't necessarily mean we should ban people from flying airplanes like in general. It actually makes me curious overall what the general public consensus is about someone flying, let's say a drone like a Mavic Pro over crowds and events. Because like with these stories, for the most part, most of the mainstream media, they always interview, I guess, commercial flyers, like people who have the perspective of how it is right now, it's fantastic, they should be doing more, or because they're, quote, the professionals. Whereas a lot of times when you go to the average person or even the comments, it seems like most people, they say, hey, this is crazy, like with how, like, I guess over-regulated it is, it doesn't make sense. So it'd be kind of interesting to see what the overall, like, general public reaction is to this. Because even from my experience, most people are okay with it, like, in general. And when you tell them about the process, like you having to learn about manned aircraft stuff, they're basically say like, what? That's ridiculous. Like they can even see it as like, whatever, go fly it and capture it. So it'd be kind of interesting to hear perspectives of that. As I mentioned before, there should be regulations to a certain extent. Like for example, don't go right into the airport and all that, but it can't be ridiculous and over the top in my opinion. Otherwise, I guess like here, not many people will actually follow it. And at the same time, most people just think it's ridiculous, like from a regular standpoint. Oh, I guess they all grew the next phase already, huh? It's almost like they have a mohawk.
Tôi dạy à đấy, cái gì à, nó走到你度啦，cái gì nữa tôi dạy là.
right, see you guys later.